right. Okay, well, whatever. We'll see what happens. I'm really really curious. Like the timing of everything Nintendo related right now is a little bit up in the air. I find because I mean there's all the Switch 2 rumors, and by all means, if you want to talk about any of the Switch 2 stuff, I'm totally fine with that too, eh? Because like
Now,
it's
I would have needed to watch what you guys said because I probably would talk out of my ass. I know
no,
nothing about the Switch
it's
2.
Tim. So
Absolutely nothing. So, like I said, like the Switch now, 2017 will be 7 years old. It's 7 years old now. Will be 8 years old next year. So that's pretty good.
man,
I
how is that
think
even possible? I can't believe it seems impossible to me that the Switch is that old.
yeah, there's no reason to release something when it's still selling, but I'm not sure right now if it is. I haven't looked at the sales. I'm sure it's declined year over year, of course, but like the sales of the system obviously slowed down the need to have a successor.
Mm.
But I think now it's probably time soon. I don't think we have any big hitters. I don't think there's a new Mario or new
No,
Zelda
I don't
coming
think
out
so.
in for the system. So obviously they're gearing up for the Switch 2, whatever it's called. I'm curious about the name. I hope they have a decent name for it. Even Switch 2 would be good compared to if they call it the new Nintendo Switch or the Nintendo Switch U. I hope.
They cannot do that. If they did not learn their lesson from the Wii U, like then they're morons. But I'll be honest, man. Like I'm really of all the next gen hardware or whatever, the Switch, the sequel, the whatever, the next Switch, I am the most intrigued by this because we have come very far with mobile technology. That's all that Tim and I spoke about. It had nothing to do with the Switch. It was about like mobile chips and the fact that like the your phone can play, Resident Evil 19. And yes, it's
Mhm.
not, it's not going to be like identical to the Xbox or the
Yeah, but a
PlayStation
phone
5.
is expensive though,
No,
right?
no, right, right, right. But
That's what Tim keeps. I'm not sure. Maybe he's changed, but he keeps forgetting that Nintendo wants an affordable
no,
system
no,
because they want
pre-
people to buy it. They don't
precisely.
want.
No, no,
Yeah, I know. I
100%.
know that to have like a very powerful the system that Tim wants will probably cost like $20 million each, but
Dude, you'd
that's
love it.
not what Nintendo's. That's if you want that type, buy a Switch, a Steam Deck, or
Yeah.
whatever. I'm
Yeah, yeah,
sure
yeah.
there's more powerful stuff in there. That's not
Exactly.
the market Nintendo is like.
Exactly.
They want their moms and the dads, people like
Mainstream.
me now, to like. I have five in my house. I have one for me, one for my girlfriend, one for both of my kids, and I have a spare one. So I have five Switches.
Yeah.
That's what they want.
Yeah.
If this was a system that was $2,000, I probably would not even have one. So
Mm.
you imagine the moms and dads. That's what they want. So they want
Yeah.
an affordable system for the holidays that mom and dad buys for their kids.
Yeah.
They buy one each. If they have two or three kids, they all get a Switch.
Yeah.
So it doesn't work if they follow the Tim model. So that's what's important to realize
Yep.
now. It's
Yep.
not going to have the graphics that your phone has, whatnot, because a phone it's expensive, man. It's like
Of course, of course.
thousands of dollars for a phone, unless depending on
I
what.
was
Anyway,
going somewhere and you just killed it, but
not
what I
because
was
I'm yelling at the screen when I'm watching you guys sometimes, but
it's so funny. The thing like what I challenged him with the Steam Deck. I was like, go look at the Steam Deck options right now, and it's like $800 or something, the top one. And I said exactly what you were saying, that I was like, Nintendo would never do this. Never. Like never in a million years would they do this. What I'm trying to say with the technology that's here is in the last 5 years, we have experienced a revolution in mobile chipsets. And if Nintendo, which I'm sure I guarantee you they're gonna use an ARM architecture, which is basically what Apple Silicon is running on, and it's been running on it now. I think 1, 2, 3, 4 years, something like that. I am positive because it's dirt cheap now. It's dirt cheap to go back to the chips from like 4 years ago, and they are insanely powerful. Like insanely, insanely, insanely powerful. And knowing Nintendo, right? You release a version with 64 gigabytes, just with that much, and then have an SD card that you can upgrade. And yes, people like Tim will flip out, like he'll totally lose his mind and stuff, but who cares? And
I think
that
that the cutoff is $500. I think they want to release a
yeah,
system
I
that's
agree.
$500. I don't think they want to be higher than that.
I don't even think that. I think like how much was the Switch when it came out? Was it $399?
You might be right. I'm thinking about Canadian prices here. I think it was about $500 Canadian, maybe a bit less than that.
Because
So
that's
yeah,
my
I'd be
guess.
curious to keep talking. I'll actually Google this
Okay, because
because it's important to know they might be a bit more because the PlayStation 5 was a lot more expensive than the PS4 because of inflation and whatnot. So they might be a bit, maybe $50, $100 more. But yeah, they have a price point in mind here. They're not going to
yeah,
go
yeah,
over it.
yeah, and that's exactly what we just spoke about. We literally just spoke about that, and I was saying that like Nintendo is never going to do
Oh,
it.
you're $299.99, $300 US. So
Yeah,
you're
so
right.
there you go.
It's not even
There you go. And so
okay.
I'm telling you right now, with what I know about mobile chipsets, you take an M1 processor, okay? So like you take that chip that Apple it's not going to obviously be the exact same thing, but whatever. Take that thing from 4 years ago, okay? Maybe considering it's Nintendo and they do have bargaining power. Fine. Let's say they take today Apple's at an M3, so let's say they take an M1 or an M2 or a 1.5. Take that kind of power. That would be unbelievably powerful. That would be for bang for buck. It's unbelievable. Like it would be unbelievable. You slap in 64 gigs that costs nothing today. It'll cost them nothing at all. You have maybe like I don't know 8 gigs of RAM. They're done. And like put that all in one tiny micro little thing. It will allow the system to be super thin, cool, battery would last forever, and you could get away with it for $300-$400. There, done. I'm sure that's coming. And all these people that keep comparing, and I'll give kudos to Tim because he actually agreed with me, where I said like they will never release a Steam Deck killer ever. That is never going to happen because it's not the same market. The only people that are going to buy a Steam Deck are like PC gamers that want that experience on the go. It is so expensive. That's what I had him do it live, like on the camera. It was like, look up right now, how much does the Steam Deck cost today, fully souped out with a terabyte and all that crap, and it was like 800 Canadian or something. I was like, there's no chance, like zero chance, Nintendo would ever do something like that, and they don't need to. Like, so I'm pretty sure, I'm confident that when the next Switch is announced, it's going to be pretty much exactly what I'm saying. I'm sure of it. That it's going to be that chipset and that thing. And you know what, dude? The games will be amazing. Like, they will.
Oh yeah.
Like, it'll be probably somewhere close to like a PS4. Something, like, to give an idea, like power-wise, it would be somewhere... like probably just a little bit better than a PS4. Who cares? What's wrong with that? That's perfect. The only thing that I'm wondering. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just wondering because there were some wild rumors of talking about like 2 screens so that they can remaster 3DS games and stuff. and I'm like, I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
I think Nintendo has learned about the Wii U experience. I don't think they're gonna go for a gimmick anymore. That's gone. Those days are gone. 2 screens.
Could you imagine? Like, yeah, like that'd be hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Why? Like, why would we need 2 screens? The thing that worked with the Switch was the fact that you could play it on the go and on your
Exactly.
TV. Your TV doesn't have 2 screens.
Exactly.
So I don't know.
No, I said the same thing. I was like, that's just sheer stupidity. Like, to me, like, that makes no sense. I really do hope they keep it exactly the same. Like, it worked. There's something about that. And yes, absolutely, there's indirect competition, and I call it that. Like, you have a lot of competitors now on the PC side, but again, it's different. Like, it's not the same thing. But I do think it's going to be really interesting to see what everyone else does. I'm so fascinated because like when the Switch came out, that was a real novelty. A lot of people like took notice of that and were like, okay, that's interesting that people are resonating towards that. You had a lot of PC manufacturers that started to, do their things. God, if they sold 100,000, I'd be shocked. Valve has a hardcore fan base, so I'm sure that sold moderately well. The Steam Deck, I'm pretty sure that did okay, but nowhere near like millions of units. That's not the idea. But what I'm curious is your Sonys and your Microsofts. I'm fascinated to watch these guys because I thought the PlayStation Portable was going to crash. I really did. I thought that was going to be a dumpster fire, and it sold well. But again, sold well compared to what, right? Like if they only made like 100,000 units, is that really selling well? But I am curious because there is something about that form factor that I really genuinely like. Being able to just clunk and now I can play it on my big screen. Yeah. I really like that.
I'm just really curious about the marketing because like I said, like they had a lot of problems with the Wii U just on the concept itself ended up being terrible, but the naming also, the marketing, like, and they obviously probably don't want to lose the Switch name because it's a big factor now. But what are they gonna do? They're gonna call it the Switcheroo. Like the Switch 2 sounds decent, but even that doesn't really sound sexy. I don't know.
It's Nintendo. I would be surprised if they did a numerical thing. But you're right.
Yeah, that's why. But they kind of need to because I don't know. I don't like the name, the new Switch or the.
No, that would be dangerous. That would be very dangerous.
If they're not going to go for Switch 2, what will they do? Just a new brand in general?
I don't know. I honestly don't know. I don't know because that's too dangerous. If doing like new Switch, you're gonna have people like you're gonna have parents that are like, "Wow, there's nothing wrong with your old Switch. You don't need a new one."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like
people don't realize how casual the gaming audience is. Like the people that actually know and talk about games like we do, it's like probably less than 1% of the entire.
Yeah.
Like most of the people buying stuff or moms and dads and people who don't even know what a new Switch would be. Like you just said, like you have the old Switch. You don't need a new Switch. Parents will say that.
Yeah.
Trust me. I'm starting to be one of those. Like my sons keep talking to me about computers and whatnot. And I have no idea what they're talking about. Like I have when you're texting me about some of the things you say. I have no clue.
Well, it's okay.
So I'm starting to be that. So I can't imagine the parents that didn't actually grow up with this stuff having their kids ask for a new Switch. They'll be wondering what's wrong with the one you have right now. So
I wonder if Nintendo would do that though. Really, like would they actually?
The past they have. I think they've gone away with that. We haven't gotten the new in any like new Super Mario Brothers, new Yoshi's Island, new Nintendo 3DS. We haven't had the new name in a while.
Yeah, we haven't had that in a while. Personally, I mean, I'm so old that Nintendo, Super Nintendo, and for all intents and purposes, the N64 would have been the Ultra Nintendo, right? Yeah. Like but I don't see them because that was something I think it was Ahmed was telling me the same, like having this discussion, and he was like, well, they could always make like a Super Switch, and I was like, I don't know, I'm not sure.
I'm very curious how they handle that because I'm not part of a marketing team, but I think it's a bigger challenge than people realize. Because
it's hard.
This franchise, this brand, the Switch that sold like 120, 150 million.
Yeah, it's way up there. I think it's like 136 or something.
So obviously you want to keep that name. You want to, but you also, I don't know. Very curious when they announce it, how they're going to call it.
Yeah, because Ahmed was like, he was hedging his bet, I think, and sorry, Ahmed, if you're listening and I'm butchering what, I'm pretty sure it was him I was having the conversation with, where it was like, well, why not just go back to the old naming convention? And I was like, maybe, but you would have to like dramatically change the logo and like you really...
That's what I think Sony did very well. Like keeping a PlayStation now, we know the next system will be called a
Yeah.
PlayStation 6.
Yeah.
It's simple, it works,
Yeah.
and people understand it because it's been that way forever now.
Yeah.
I wish Nintendo would have kept it that way, but then again, their systems go from all over the place, so it's weird. Even Xbox, I don't understand.
Oh,
I think they didn't want to go for the Xbox 2 with the 360 because PlayStation was about to release a
Yeah.
PlayStation 3, and they didn't want it to sound
Yeah.
inferior.
Yeah.
But now they
No, but it's out of control now, right?
Yeah.
Xbox One, Xbox Series X, like
You talk about confusion. I'm not even sure what's going on anymore. Imagine parents like, what's the difference between an Xbox One X and an Xbox One Series X? Like, you know the difference.
yes, dude, I know.
I don't, but
Even
I'm
me.
sure.
Even me, when it comes to Xbox, I am so confused over all of this. I'm like, the only company to get this right was Sony.
Yeah.
It's like I can just
Yeah.
imagine their marketing. You have like some guy walk into marketing and they're like, you know what? We're calling it 2. like the second one. And they're like, that's the end of it. End of discussion. And that's it. And that's the thing. Like when they announced PlayStation Vita, I was like, that's so stupid. Call it PSP 2. And be done with it. There you go. Like, anyways, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, you're right. Like PS6, we know it's coming. I know it's going to get ridiculous, like in 30 years or something, you know, the PlayStation 12, if it's even out,
Yeah.
like if they even continue to make them by then.
No, but I know what you mean, but it's just brilliant marketing. It's simple, it
It's
works.
simple, yeah.
And now, like with the Switch, it's stupid to be hang up on such a small detail. But for me, it's like I don't want a Wii U repeat again, never again.
Yeah.
So
and
and
dude,
they did it successfully in the past because the Game Boy was a really highly popular brand, and they switched to the DS and it worked. So they can do it, but I don't know.
yeah, it's gonna be interesting because the new way of differentiating technologies has been to add a pro, right? Like a lot of companies started to do that, doing pros or pluses or S's and stuff like that.
Yeah, but for me, to me, it sounds like an upgrade, not a next system.
Precisely.
And I'm sure most parents will feel like that, and it'll be like your old Switch is fine.
Yeah, but
It'll be
exactly.
the same.
No,
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%. So what I'm trying to say is like I can't see them going that route because if they do, it will be Wii U all over again.
Because the iPhones and the Pros and all the other technology you're talking about, they're marketed at techies, and people will buy
Exactly.
them. They know what they're going.
Yeah.
Parents, they don't know shit.
Yeah.
I'm one of those. I don't know nothing about
Yeah.
technology. So if you market something, it's very, especially a console like the Switch. This is a 100% marketed at families and parents.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
their biggest like fan base. That's where they make their money.
Yeah.
So they need to be smart about this, and
So
I'm
we'll
sure they will.
we'll
be.
see what they come up with because like I am curious, would Super Switch or something Switch would that work?